Simon, thanks for joining me, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Man, we have a lot to talk about since I had Mr. Jamie Bailey on my last episode in August, man.
Oh, that guy, is he still alive?
Here we go, because a couple minutes into the episode, he called you a diva because you want to be behind the camera and in all your movies. So it's
Wow,
that's awkward.
I shall
So
bring that
awkward.
up with him. What I'm gonna do, mate, is I'm gonna text him right now about that.
And I have it on audio, so if you
Right,
need
so
Exhibit
he
A,
denies it. I'm like, really? Well, Justin has supplied this clip for me that confirms that.
and then you can send it to him and be like, "So,
Okay.
is this how you truly feel?"
And that's just, yeah. So why don't you tell me how you really feel? Which is unfortunate for us because me and Jamie are on a flight bound to Tokyo, which is a long flight to be together if we're no longer friends.
Is that going to be the next horror movie you guys do? A
Well,
flight to
it might be.
Tokyo?
It might be, and you will have started that, Justin. So I want you to take responsibility. When you hear about two men have killed each other on a long haul flight to Tokyo, just remember that it was your clip that started all this problem.
It's all love, man. So, ever since Mousetrap came out on Amazon, I woke up one morning and I was just telling you about this. It came on Peacock for a little short run.
That's right. Peacock paid an extraordinary amount of money to get the exclusivity to it for October last year. They wanted it for Halloween. So we obviously, our distributor said yes, and they were like, "Please," So we had a good time there. And it was only on Peacock for a month, or it was only on Peacock exclusively for a month. Sorry, it was probably still on Peacock, I'm sure.
I don't think it is. I think they
Oh
took
well,
it
then maybe it's not. I'm always also the last person to know where it is. I'm afraid.
because I started watching Jamie stuff when you guys did What Lurks Beneath. I actually
Right.
caught that for a short period of time on Amazon, and
Yes.
then a couple days later they took that away from me because I was really I fell in love with that movie,
Oh,
and then I
yeah. What Lies Beneath is a very exciting.
and then
Very.
he told me about that it was actually filmed on a ship and stuff like that, and totally
It's
blew
a
my
real
mind.
submarine. Yeah. It's a real submarine. It was easier to just find a real submarine than try and build a fake one.
Yeah.
We figured it would, and nobody, trust me, it sounds awesome until you're actually trying to film on a submarine. There's not much fake.
I bet. And then I went down the rabbit hole and I just started watching all your guys' stuff from, I was telling you, your Christmas movies that you
That's
destroyed a
right.
lot of people's love for Santa Claus and stuff like
Yes.
that.
I told you I keep
So,
getting questions asked of me of like, what did Santa Claus do to you, Simon? And I was like, nothing. Yeah, it sounds like I've got some big story about Santa Claus didn't bring me presents once when I was 4 years old. But I don't have that story. I've had some quite nice Christmases.
did you ask for GI Joes and they just
And
didn't
yeah,
bring it to
and
you?
then you bought Barbies or something. And I was like, no, I don't really have anything. Like, I actually need to think of a story so that I do have a good answer for that question. I don't have one.
Uh, because because you started out with doing that movie and then you did a couple sequels, right?
That's right. We did Once Upon a Time at Christmas, and then we did The Nights Before Christmas. But
Yeah,
I
that's what it
recently
was.
made a third Christmas horror movie, which is that guy behind me, Silent Bite. So it's another Christmas horror movie. I like a Christmas horror movie, so they feel good. Like sort of I like the alternate to Hallmark Christmas movies.
I think we should have a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week horror movie channel of just Christmas movies.
I support that, but then I would greatly benefit from that, Justin. So
There you go.
they would
So,
show all of our stuff.
so if anybody can sign a petition, we can get that started today.
Yes, there we go. We started it right here.
So, and then I deep dove into De-Influencer
Ah,
shortly
yes.
after that,
That's
and I
this
think,
guy up here.
that mask is probably the best mask I've seen in a horror movie because
Well, I'm
that
glad that
is
you
freaking.
liked the influencer because we've got another two. I'm sure Jamie told you on his interview.
Yeah,
There's another two of them coming.
he said that there was one. He didn't say two.
No, there's two of them. We're almost finished the third one, and we're releasing them at the same time. So we've got two.
Oh my
The
god!
influencer 2 and 3 coming.
Yes.
So
Like
we got,
I think you guys did slasher what slasher should be as done today because I think slasher films are probably the one movie that we don't really get a lot of nowadays. Besides,
that's true. I think so. We were talking about this earlier, weren't we? That the world is too politically correct anymore. They don't. You can't make a slasher right now unless it does all these things, which sort of seems to prevent it being a slasher. Like there's
yeah,
too much wokeness or politically correctness. So horror movies are they follow in a couple of tropes that people don't like, sort of, but people do like it, sort of. But you look at Terrifier 3 dominating the box office, people do like them.
I I love Terrifier 3. I
Right,
love
well, there you go.
Terrifier series.
So there you go. See, there's an audience out there for these things, mate. Always.
If anybody would just give me a call, I'll just tell them what to make. Like one of my first couple episodes that I've done, I got a cease and desist from Blumhouse because we did an episode on Blumhouse that basically we told them what they could do better, and they told us not to talk about them ever again.
Oh wow! See, but that's sort of crazy because you're like, as anybody that makes movies and stuff like that, you have to kind of listen to what people say. You don't have to agree with it,
No.
sort of, and you don't have to follow what people say. But you should listen to it. It's interesting to hear what people think about the type of things you're making and how that helps or how that doesn't help. Sort of. But yeah, I don't know if there's any room for people to just not listen.
No, I wasn't really like saying anything bad. I was just critiquing them because they were doing PG-13 this, PG-13 this,
Yeah.
PG-13 this. Five Nights at Freddy's came out, and I'm a Freddy Krueger fan because I grew up with Freddy Krueger, and I think that more horror movies should be rated R. I don't think if you're a horror if it's a horror movie, I don't think it should be horror / thriller PG-13. I
No,
think if it's
yes,
a
I
horror
think
movie,
you're-
horror R.
Yes, there is a lot of watering down of horror movies, which is, it kind of doesn't make them horror movies anymore. It's like they have to be sort of a little graphic and a little psychologically, so they have to push you to your limit because it's horror. If you didn't want that, you shouldn't be watching that genre.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't remember a time where horror was just compared to thriller. It was either horror or it wasn't horror at all.
Indeed. Yeah.
But now it's horror / thriller.
Yes, and there's a definite
psychological.
difference, in those two things. So, yeah. I don't
And
know.
I'm just like, can we just get horror?
Yeah.
Just give me a story, let me see some limbs fly off, and then just wrap it up for me. Like, is that so much to ask?
Is
Like,
that too much to ask for this? Then the answer is no, it's not.
or just give me Mickey Mouse as a killer. Just
Well, we've got you covered there. Don't worry.
because I went online early because I like staying up to the know of what you guys are working on, and it says you guys are working on a movie called Into the Mickeyverse.
That's right. There's more to be. The first movie did far too well, mate, for us not to follow it up. So we're expanding the universe, though. So it's more is coming. I'm definitely not allowed to say exactly what, but there's more coming. More.
Because one of the emails that I get on a regular that people were really mad on how the first one ended.
Well,
They were like-
well, and that's fair enough, mate. Sort of we left it there, and we probably should we should have done something different. Maybe I don't know. Sort of so many people saw it. We didn't realize quite how many people were going to watch this movie. It is millions and millions of people. So it's I mean, when we put the trailer, I put the trailer on my YouTube account, right, and in. And on YouTube, it got 26 million hits in 48 hours when we dropped the original trailer back in January of 2024. So it was phenomenal and very quick as well. It was on news items everywhere, not because of really what we'd done, but because a testament to how powerful Mickey Mouse was. I mean, he's a cartoon icon everywhere, like Japan, Africa, everywhere loves Mickey Mouse. Like globally. So it made it a very interesting news item for people in January last year when it came into public domain.
Yeah, and it just felt like it just gained more steam because I saw it everywhere. I saw it on Facebook.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw it.
it's
I saw just
it
random
keeps on
pop-up
rolling,
ads.
mate. To be honest, I keep getting messages about it.
I bet.
And I was telling you just prior to this, prior to our live interview, that myself and Jamie we're off to Tokyo in a couple of weeks to go to the Japanese premiere of it. Now they're giving it a full theatrical release. So it's coming out in 200 screens in Japan. So I mean, the movie just keeps rolling.
Jeez,
It's unstoppable, that machine.
and we know why it's so big because you guys took a home run hit. So
Wow, thank you.
I'm just glad you guys are thriving with this because this movie was one of our top movies for last year. We just dropped an episode yesterday, basically.
Oh, I
talking
didn't see
about
that. I'm gonna have to check that out. You
Yeah,
need to tag me in these things, Justin, for me to see them.
Well, I'll tag you from now on because I did the Jamie Bailey interview, and then a week after, me and my partner did a Mousetrap review where we talked about how you guys are just keeping this ball rolling because I think we're in this day and age of indie horror movies are finally getting the spotlight which they deserve.
I think so. People are starting to realize as Hollywood becomes, as the studio thing has to play it safe a lot of time because obviously they're trying to appeal to much, much wider numbers. They're realizing the value in the niche, sort of where horror, horror, true horror, indie horror, as it were, needs to actually appeal to horror fans. Sort of. For us, it isn't about maximum numbers. It's about sort of maximum engagement with the audience. Doing something that the horror audience likes. So even if that's a small audience, that's not how you measure success in numbers, particularly. It's like, well, how good was it for the people that wanted to watch it?
Yeah, because now we have, it feels like just revolution of Disney horror movies. Now, what is your take on the whole this big revolution of Winnie the Pooh and Peter
I mean, the
Pan?
guys that made Winnie the Pooh, that was the first of sort of taking those sort of beloved children characters. So the first Winnie the Pooh movie, Blood and Honey, it was a great idea. Maybe not a great movie, but it was certainly a great idea. And the second movie was much better. So they had a good idea. We sort of followed what they did a little bit, except we were taking a Disney character. Remember, Winnie the Pooh wasn't really a Disney character; it was a book and stuff. So Disney obviously had made some Winnie the Pooh cartoons, but it wasn't a Disney character. Whereas Mickey is very definitely a Disney character. I mean, he's the Disney character, isn't he? We just took what they did and took it a bit further. As I understand as well, which I didn't know at the time, they were going to make a Mickey Mouse horror movie, and they decided not to.
What?
Which was crazy. So they were like, "Oh no, we looked at doing it," but they were worried about Disney suing them. And I was like, "Well, if you followed." The law, the copyright law, and you made sure that your Mickey Mouse was the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse, like the original Mickey Mouse, that would never have happened. So why did you guys seem so brave when you did the Winnie the Pooh thing, and then you, I don't know, you lost your nerve or something? So we took it one step further. They were really mad at us for a while because we did something they didn't do. But even though they were saying they had an idea to do it, they just decided not to. They decided to make Winnie the Pooh too. The Blood and Honey too, which I was like, that's crazy that you would do that. But I mean, anyway, okay.
Yeah, that's wild because they're making success also with Winnie the Pooh. And,
they surely are, yeah. I mean, the second one, I don't think the second one did very well, but which is a shame because it's a much better movie. The first one did phenomenally well. It was like made $15 million, the second one didn't make anything like that. But, that was, which is sad because it's a better movie than the first one. So,
And he just dropped Peter Pan, which got...
That's right, yeah. I mean, there's a slew of these movies coming up. And the next 10 years are about to be really interesting. There's a Popeye one coming up. There's a Bambi one coming up.
I saw that. I saw both recently.
Yeah, for the next 10 years, there's loads of characters that are a very public domain that are dropping into like open use. So the next 10 years for filmmakers are going to be very, very exciting indeed. I think it's 2033 or something. I can't remember the exact date. Superman comes into public domain. I don't know. And what does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what that means for anything. But these are starting to, Batman starts to come in after that. This is Batman's already kind of a darker figure, but like Superman, I don't know. What does a Superman horror movie look like? I don't know. But man, I'd be interested to find out.
I kind of want to find out myself.
Exactly.
I just saw you guys have a movie that just dropped, I think, called The Amro Heist.
That's right. We did something last year, like a totally different movie, like a bank robbery, a bank heist movie. We shot it in Omro, Wisconsin. It's incredible. That'll be out later this year. We just had a small theatrical run in Milwaukee just to sort of test the audiences and see what people thought of the movie. That happened actually just last night. We're looking forward to releasing that one probably in the summer.
I can't wait to watch that film because that looks really good. Because he gave me he actually sent me the trailer for that short.
Oh yeah, it's very fun. I think that one.
And look who I saw in the trailer, front and center.
Yes,
Mr. Simon being a gangster over here.
Well, that's because as Jamie said, I'm a diva. I remember these words, Justin. And he diva. He wants to be in the movies. I was like, yes, how selfish, an actor that wants to be in the movies. If you know an actor that doesn't want to be in movies, I don't know if that makes them an actor.
I
I'm going to
don't
have
think
words
it.
with Jamie Bailey about this, is what I'm saying, Justin.
Should we just create a group chat now and just be done with
This
it?
subgroup chat, we're like, oh, hello, Jamie J. Bailey. The
Or
J.
should I? Or should I say JB?
JB. Well, the J, his middle name is actually Judas. He doesn't tell people that a lot, but that is what the J
Uh-oh.
stands for. And that now it makes sense.
This is gonna be a
That isn't
fun
his
group
real
chat.
name. I don't know why I just made that up. Sorry.
But that is hilarious because I'm gonna change him in my phone as Judas now.
Good, good. That's actually currently what I'm going to be doing here. Yeah, after I text him about this diva comment.
Nothing but love for him because
No.
I think you guys are probably the best 1-2 right now in indie because anything that I see your name on and his name on right beside one another, I'm locking in on the TV to watch.
We do enjoy each other's company, I must admit. So making a movie with Jamie is fun because we sort of both decided that if a movie is not fun to make, we should stop doing it. You know, like sort of if it feels, you know, it's a passion for both of us. We do love making movies. So the minute it feels like too much hard work, it probably is, you know, like sort of go, there's time to kind of call it a day a little bit, you know, on those sort of things, which is obviously not what we're doing because it is still very fun to make. But I think that's the rule that you should have, you know, like sort of, well, it's got to be fun and it's got to keep fun, you know.
Oh, absolutely. So I told Jamie this story, so I gotta tell you now. So I went on Amazon to look for a movie,
Yeah.
and basically it recommended Mousetrap for me. So I watch a lot of my movies with my wife, and I have a group of friends that I watch all my stuff with, and then we talk about it on the podcast. So I popped in Mousetrap, and I had to stop the movie like 3 times because the intro made me die laughing in my living room.
It was good. You know, when we made the original movie, we didn't have that at the beginning. But then there's so many lawyers involved in this movie. I've never seen the emails with the number of lawyers we've had to have on it. They were like, "No, you've got to have like a disclaimer at the beginning to say it's nothing to do with Disney and stuff like that." And they never actually gave us the language. They just said it has to have a disclaimer at the beginning. It's, you know, you got to make it clear it's nothing to do with Disney. And then Jamie went away and came up with that disclaimer. And the first time I saw it is how it is. I never saw it, and I didn't even know he was going to do that. And I died laughing. I was like, "Yeah, we absolutely have to keep this." And then we got in trouble for the disclaimer because it was in Star Wars style. And they go, "That's another Disney thing." You know, like you're really, you know,
It wasn't
stop
Star
annoying
Wars
Disney.
Roll. And we couldn't make it past the first 5 minutes because everybody was in stitches. We were like, the number one question we had was, how much trouble are they going to be in?
Yeah, we probably shouldn't have. You know, we probably shouldn't have done the Star Wars thing.
But it was as the disclaimer says, it was a generic.
Yes,
scroll.
sorry, it's not Star Wars. It's generic space crawl. Sorry,
That's what it is. So it's not.
that is what it
It's,
is. So it's
you-
not to be
you-
confused with any other Disney-owned property. Yes, that's right.
ever.
Ever.
And remember, you've called. They just haven't responded.
We called a lot.
Like
They don't want to talk to us.
so you brought up Silent Bite. What is this about? Because the poster in itself, you already have my time and energy because
Right. Well, Silent Bite, for those who have not seen it yet, is I think it's on Tubi now. So go check it out. It's another bank robbery film, but these five guys rob a bank on Christmas Eve, and then they hide out. They're sort of trying to lay low in a motel, but in the motel, which is empty, the manager is there, and he's obviously taking a bit of a pay just to let them hide out in the hotel, just for a motel rather, just for a few days until all the heat blows over. Is also a group of female vampires, and the bank robbers are all male, and these vampires are all female. So it's kind of a boys versus girls fight on Christmas Eve, and it's really who can make it through the night. So you know, it's good fun.
I know what I'm watching tonight.
Yeah, no, it's a really good fun movie. It really is. If you like Christmas horror, I mean, you know, it's that as well. But it's a tremendous, a tremendous effort on everybody that's involved. The cast is mostly people that are friends of mine, because that's how we made the movie. And that's how, when I wrote the script, I wrote the script for this one. So I wrote it with all of my friends in mind. I was like, I would like you to play this, you to play this, and then all of them came. So that was great for me, because everyone sounded exactly like I imagined they'd sound. So that's to me that was hilarious.
Perfect casting right there.
Yeah, so it was a very, very fun movie to make, certainly.
And you said it's on Tubi?
It's on Tubi right now, I believe. You see, I'm talking to you. You have to remember, Justin, I talked to you from Canada, and you're obviously in the United States. So what I can see on Tubi and what you can see on Tubi are sometimes different. But I believe it's on Tubi now in the United States.
Well, I already know what I'm watching tonight.
Okay, good. Well, I look forward to your thoughts when you've seen it, Justin.
Oh, I can't wait. And
I'm going to make sure that you've watched the whole thing. There's a test afterwards as well.
Okay. Of course. I would expect nothing less.
There's no test.
So one of the questions I ask everybody that I interview, if you were given the opportunity to remake any horror movie, what would it be?
Any horror movie. Remake it. I don't know. You know, here's the thing. I'm not actually a great big fan of remakes of horror movies, because every remake I've seen of a horror movie has been terrible.
Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I'm respectfully, because any movie that I think is great as a horror movie, I wouldn't want to remake. You know,
Exactly.
sort of. I just love the original. It's like one of my favorites is. I mean, I've loved Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. But I wouldn't like. I wouldn't like to see. I mean, they have done obviously, but I wouldn't like to see them do it again. And you're like, when they make it again, it doesn't work. You're like, well, yeah. I mean, no shit. Of course, it doesn't work. You know, sort of. It doesn't. I don't think this. I love Die Hard. That's another favorite movie. But I wouldn't like to see somebody try and make Die Hard again. It's like, well, no. I don't know. It wouldn't feel the same. And the more you try to copy the original, the less successful it would be. You could have it exactly the same as the original, and people will hate it. And you're like, but it's the same movie. And you go, yeah. I mean, so why make it again then? You know, that's the problem with those things. Whenever they make sequels like this, that's how they struggle, because a sequel is really tough. They go, well, we want it to be the same but different. You know, you have to hit enough of the same things, but give the audience more. You know, and then if you give them too much more and it's too different, then they don't like it, because it's not the same as it doesn't have the same. That's why they struggle making, sequels, and then remakes are the same thing. It's like, well, if they remake it, they have to do again. It's like, well, they're remaking something that already exists, but okay, well then just leave it alone. So,
yeah, pretty much. And one of the biggest things I have a gripe with right now is movies that are getting sequels 10 years after the first one, or 12 years, or 13 years after
there's
the first
too much
one.
of a gap, and too much has changed. And the people that you're in it are now a bit older, and it's not the same. You're sort of aware of things that you weren't aware of before. So and sometimes they don't age well as well. Like sort of like the stories don't age well. Like sort of like we were talking about horror movies. Cell phones are a big problem for most horror movies, because at any time you'll be like, well, why don't they just call the police? Everyone has a cell phone in their pocket. So you now have to find a way out of that, and go, well, the world is so much more connected than it was, 20 years ago. So, it's not, some of the plot lines become unrealistic. You're like, well, that would never happen, because someone would have and that's the problem with some of those things. So now whenever you see horror movies, they have to do this thing at the beginning of the movie going, I haven't got any reception. Anybody got a reception? And they're like, no. And then you're like, right, now they can't call the police or whatever, because of wherever they are doesn't have reception. And it's a big problem, sort of a very huge problem. So that's why people have to come with terrible reasons why it doesn't work. But then that makes it like in Die Hard, nobody could call the police straight away because nobody had a cell phone. Because in the 80s, nobody had cell phones.
Nope.
So that's the problem with it. Like sort of as well, in the 80s that was okay. But now you have to think of a reason why they don't have cell phones. But then that makes it something that isn't made today. You see, it's out of time. And that's what feels that starts to be, well, that's convenient that all the cell phones didn't work. I mean, because if they did work, this plan would be screwed. And that's the problem with it.
Well, like you brought up cell phones and horror movies. One of the funniest things I still get to this day is when they try to run away from the killer. They go into the car, and the keys are automatically above the sun visor in every horror movie.
Do you know anyone that actually does that?
No, that's the thing.
Nobody does that. Nobody leaves their keys in the car, like ever, sort of. So I don't, but also they go, no, that was something people did back in the day, and they're like, I don't know anybody that did that.
No.
So I don't know when that ever happened, but obviously
And,
they were like, but again, it was like obviously a script problem. They're like, well, where's she going to get the keys from? And you're like, all right, let's just say they're in the car already. Like they could be in the car, right? They could be, sort of, but it's fairly unlikely. But then, when people are saying that, I go, well, it's fairly unlikely someone's going to be chased by a lunatic trying to kill them. And you're like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fairly unlikely that Freddy Krueger is trying to kill you in your dreams. And you're like, yes, all right, fair enough, yeah.
because the visor is one of the first places they look. It's either visor, center console, or glove box.
Yeah. And
And
nobody,
I'm like,
nobody would do that, yeah.
or my personal favorite, I forget what movie we were watching. It was an old movie, and it was already in the ignition.
Yeah, keys in the ignition. Who does that? What kind of sociopath leaves their key? Like nobody does that.
Or who leaves their car running.
Yes, I mean also that. Well, that happens in Canada a lot. I'll be honest. People leave their car running in Canada because it's so goddamn cold where I live. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I woke up this morning, it was 1 degree here. I'm not too sure
Justin,
about that.
Justin, you need to stop talking. It's -20 where I am, and I have 6 feet. I'm looking out my window. I have 6 feet of snow outside my window. 6 feet. When I have to get to the car, which I'm going to have to do eventually, I'm going to have to shovel up a little, which is my daily routine. I have to shovel a little pathway to the car. And then I have to turn the car on for 15 minutes to warm it up. And then I come back inside and make a coffee. So that thing of like who leaves their car running is like, well, anybody that lives in Canada and it's -20 because you just can't bear to sit in a car that's cold.
Why can't you just leave the keys in the ignition, man? Come on now.
This isn't a horror movie, Justin. Don't be ridiculous.
I have to make a little fun.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So, out of every movie you have made and started, what has been your favorite? Just
What's been
overall
my
fun.
favorite movie that I've made? I don't, sort of. That's a tough one because they're all different. Like when if you ask someone what their favorite movie is as well, not that they've been in, but like a favorite movie. That they want you like different things at different times. Like sort of you may well love horror movies, but I bet you have a favorite action movie too, or a favorite, and you probably have a favorite. Like it can be Indiana Jones or something. You can have something that fits another category, and obviously it fits your mood. Like sort of when I talk about what's my favorite movie, like there are some movies I've had a great time making, like they've been very fun to make the movie. Maybe the movie wasn't so good, sort of, but they were great. And then there are other times where the movie has been very good, but it was a nightmare to make. Like sort of when I made the Nights Before Christmas movies, I had to wear like all this makeup and contact lenses in my eyes, and it was very, very uncomfortable to make to wear that every day. So I hated that process, but I did like the movie, sort of. So, but I didn't enjoy getting an hour of makeup every morning and somebody had to like fish into my eye and put in contact. I hate stuff in my eyes, so I don't know why it was me that made this story, so I don't know why I did that. But obviously when I'm writing it, I'm not thinking about that at the time, which is really stupid. And then we decided to make 2 of those movies, which is again more stupid if I knew I hated it the first time.
Why'd you do it again?
And I gave myself these metal teeth. I had like things, so I had to wear like this grill, which was a great idea and it looked good. Except when I put it in for the first time, the guy was like, they're specially made because they're fit around your teeth, right? So when I went to the guy that made, I had to go beforehand, and he was like, you need to practice, put this in and practice talking, with it in, because it takes some getting used to. And obviously I didn't do that, so I didn't practice. So when on day 1 when I started filming, I thought to talk like everything had a bit of a lisp, so when I'm saying Merry Christmas, everybody, everyone's like, and I was like, did you practice with the thing in your mouth? And I was like, I did not, no, sorry. It's very busy. So, things like that. But the movie turned out great. And then I ADR'd all that, I like kind of just dubbed it later, and that's fine.
So another question I ask everybody: what got you into making movies?
Well, my mother was an actress when I was young in London. So she was mostly in theatre stuff. So I kind of always had a little bit of an artistic bone, I guess, from my mother. So, and she never quite got her break. She did theatre, but she wasn't very supported by my father, who didn't really like it at the time. So she never really got her big break, and she never got an opportunity, I guess, to even try it as much as she should have tried it. So, I had that from her, definitely. And I'm Irish, so I was born in Ireland. So we're natural storytellers. We do like a story. So it made a lot of sense. And I was always in trouble at school for talking too much. So, I was always going to do something like this. I don't know. Honestly, Justin, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't do this. I'm terrified of a normal job. I have to keep doing this. Otherwise, I don't know what happens.
Well, isn't this a job anyway?
It is a job, but like people go, well, what would you do if the phone stops ringing? And people stop, saying, yeah, we want you to be in this movie, or we want to be, I'm in other movies. I don't make as many movies as I'm in, because I can be in someone else's movie quickly, right? I can do that for a week and then that's fine. But if I'm making one of my own movies, it takes months, because I'm doing things for it. But if I'm in, when the phone rings and it's somebody else's movie, it's easy because you're like, hey, I need you to come to to London for a week and we can make this movie. And I'm like, great. In fact, that's what I'm doing next week. So I love that because I just go do the movie and then I don't think about it for 6 months until it comes out and I see a trailer and I'm like, oh, that looks good. So I end up working a lot for other people more. So that's lucky.
Wow. That sounds awesome, really.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome, but then what if Justin, the phone stops ringing and people say stop? The agent stops calling me, or I have a lot of director and producer friends, and what if they stop saying, "Do you want to be in the movie, Simon?" They might all of a sudden all decide that they don't like me, and they go, nah.
Nah, I don't think that ever.
Then what do I do? I'd have to get a regular job. And I don't know what I'd be good at, Justin. I'll be honest. Apart from this, I think this is the only thing I can do is play dress up for a living.
I don't think movies are going anywhere anytime.
They're not going anywhere, hopefully, and neither am I. So I mean, not going. I am going somewhere. You know what I mean. That sounds terrible. I'm not going anywhere. That made it sound like I've given up.
How do you feel about apps taking over, just having physical media, just to pop in your DVD
I mean,
player?
I love physical media, but that's just me, that is just me, they go, but I understand that people watch stuff on streaming. I tell you why I don't mind. I don't mind that people watch movies on streaming. I actually don't mind that. Obviously, I watch movies streaming. But what I don't like is how distracted people can be. So I like going to the cinema, right? Because everyone shuts up and watches the movie. But if you're at home watching the movie, sometimes people go on their phones and stuff and they get a snack halfway through, and they stop the movie. And obviously, it ruins the flow of the movie. Or you do that thing where you watch the movie over 2 or 3 nights. You're like, we'll pause it. We'll watch the rest of it tomorrow. And you're like, it's a terrible way to watch movies, So it's not that. But then obviously, if you're disciplined and you go, right, we're watching a movie, turn the lights down, focus, no question, no chatting, no phones, no, whatever snacks you got to get at the beginning of the movie. That's fine. And then just watch the movie, so if you watch it in that same discipline. Now, obviously, that was a lot easier when there was less distractions. When VHSs and DVDs were first out, nobody had mobile phones. There was nothing to be distracted by. Your computers weren't, they weren't as big in our lives as they are now. So it's the watching of movies that bothers me, not how they watch it, but like the attitude to watching it.
Yeah, they pull their phone out or they start talking. That's one of the reasons why I think cinemas are dying, just because of those type of people.
It is. It honestly is. It's people are lazy as well. They go, well, why would I go to the cinema when I can just watch it at home? And you're like, oh, man, like a real movie fan would understand. That wouldn't even be a question. If they had a choice to watch it at the cinema or watch it at home, they would go to watch it at the cinema. A real movie fan would do that. They like number one, seeing them film with another audience as well. Sort of random people in the room. It's good to see stuff like that. But I don't think it'll ever really die. People say that and they go, well, they said that about, theatre is going to die because TV and movies came along, and it doesn't really, it's still quite a big industry because people do like it. So it's an art form. So I don't think it'll ever die. And going to cinema won't die because people will always enjoy watching movies in a cinema. So much so that if you're very rich and famous, one of the first things you have is a cinema room in your house.
Yep.
All the rich and famous, they still have it. So they still like the process, you see, So yes, it's changing, but no, people are still a fan of it.
Because I don't buy a lot of physical media, but I buy physical media to support the actual people.
Yeah.
Because I just reminded myself I got to buy a physical copy of Mousetrap and The Influencer because I don't have it in my collection.
I don't think the Mousetrap has one, but The Influencer has one, just not in America. I think it's funny. Different countries have different. There's a German DVD of the Mousetrap, but there isn't. But there The Influencer, and there's a German DVD of The Influencer. In fact, I've got a Japanese DVD of De-Influencer, but the Americans don't have one. You know, sort of. The Japanese people sent me that one. So
That's
you know,
awesome.
Japan, by the way, loves De-Influencer. Loves it.
One of my best friends just recently saw it. He goes, "Why haven't I not seen this sooner?"
Well,
I
good.
said, "Because I'm trying to get him more into indie films because he likes a lot of
That's the problem
mainstream
is that
stuff."
here's the big challenge in indie films today, mate, is people knowing about the movie. You know, the Marvel movies and all those, they get great advertising, right? They're everywhere, you know, like
Yeah,
sort of, and that's the problem is that it's not really getting the movie out there because it's actually quite easy to get a movie out there somewhere. You can put it on anything, you know, like on one of these streaming platforms, but you have to get people to know about it, you know, sort
yeah,
of, they have to be aware of the movie, you know, and that's what's good. It's also what's annoying. Like when you show your friend De-Influence and he goes, "Why haven't I seen this before?" You know, and you go, "It's so annoying because you're like, yeah, if more people knew, more people would watch it." You know, sort of because it has an audience. But it's if you miss it, then you miss it. So
yeah. And I'm glad I never missed that film because that movie is just fun.
good.
Like,
Well, we got as I say, we got another two of them coming. So
well, as soon as they drop,
I'll put you on the list, Justin, of people that need to know.
because as soon as they drop and we watch, we'll do an episode on them.
Good.
Because I think people like I like mostly my show I do indie horror stuff
Yes,
because it's I think it's time now to talk about it.
it's
If we
1,000% time, mate.
because if I don't talk about it, how is it
How
going to get out there?
how on earth is anyone going to know about it? Which is what my take is on it. Yes.
Yeah, because word of mouth doesn't really. This is the time of word of mouth, I think.
It is, mate, and that's how a lot of these movies get attention. That's what's good about it as well, is that lots of people do find our movies through shows like yours. You know what I mean? Sort of, they go, "Oh, I didn't know about that. Now I know about it. I'll go watch it." And that is how that happens for a lot of indies.
Yeah, and and as I said to you before, if you gave me your movie and then you gave me like an A24 or a Neon or a Blumhouse or whoever it is,
Yeah.
I would 10 times out of 10 choose your film over
Well, that's
anything
very
else.
kind. But A24 and all some of those guys, they do make good stuff. You know, sort of. They just they so they do. I always judge it on like take every movie. Somebody once said to me, "It's like, oh, I saw that movie you made. I don't know what movie they're talking about." And they go, "It wasn't very good. I didn't like it." And they're like, "Okay, it doesn't mean you won't like the next one." You know, like
Yeah,
sort of, you kind of have to take it as like we've all seen our favorite directors, our favorite actors be in movies that we didn't like. You know,
yeah,
sort of or make movies that we didn't enjoy. And it's like, but that doesn't really mean that you won't enjoy their next movie. You know, sort of, it's there is a difference in that. So yeah, I don't
just
know.
because you went
Encourage people to be reminded by that.
just because you went to some place and didn't like a burger there doesn't mean you don't like cheeseburgers elsewhere.
Exactly, mate. That's a great analogy. Yes.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
because I will give anything a try. I don't care. I'll
Yeah.
watch anything, and I think a lot of people now are closed-minded on what they watch because
I would wholeheartedly agree. I'm afraid they are very close-minded. You know, sort of very close-minded.
because I think if you like action, you like action. If you like horror, you like horror. I will
Yeah.
watch anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, just entertain me is
Yeah,
what
I think
I'm
that's
trying
it.
to get
It's,
at.
it's entertainment, and that's what's. There's so much out there. There's so much good stuff out there as well. You just have to kind of dig a bit deeper to find it sometimes. You know,
Oh
sort
yeah,
of, but it's like it's easy to find. You just have to be go out of your way to find it. And also one of these things about one thing I know people of mine do. They go, oh, de-influencer. And I'm like, well, I've not heard of that. And not heard of it is a reason to not watch it. They go, I didn't hear anything about that. And you're like, okay. That doesn't mean it's not good just because you didn't hear about it. It's just maybe you didn't hear about it because you didn't hear about it. But the idea that if it wasn't advertised or it wasn't, it didn't have a billboard in Times Square, he was like, oh, well, I didn't know anything about that movie. Sort of, why didn't I know anything about that movie? I was like, maybe you just didn't know about it. I don't know why you didn't know about it. It doesn't mean it's a good movie. Consequently, as well, the reverse is true, as you say. If there's a big Marvel movie, if a big Blumhouse movie, if there's a big movie you do know lots about, the remake of Pet Sematary, it doesn't mean it's going to be good. Sort of. Do you know what I mean? Just because you know about it, and it's like, well, I know about that movie. And it's like, well, that doesn't mean it's good. It just means you know about it. It means
and
it's got a
another
good
thing,
marketing budget.
popularity doesn't make the movie either.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. Definitely
I'm just
things people
saying
should remember.
because there's a couple that I watched recently. The popularity destroyed the movie for me.
Yeah, it's possible.
One was Talk to Me, and one was Wicked. I think both of those popular and destroyed both
Yes.
of those movies for me.
I
So
mean, I've not seen. I haven't seen either of those actually, to be honest. I've
pass.
avoided. I've avoided that. Well, I was going to go and see Wicked. I must admit, because well, I wanted to see what it was about. I haven't seen the play as well. I know Wicked is obviously a big musical on the West End and so on and so forth. So, was key. I know Wicked has been around for a bit. So, when something lasts the test of time, it's often that does usually mean that it's quite good. But I'm talking about the musical, the Broadway musical. I'm not
Oh,
talking about the movie.
I've seen the musical before I saw this, and I'm still.
Oh, still
Not
out on
a
it.
fan.
Okay.
I have no problem with musicals.
No,
Musicals,
no, no. Me neither. Yeah.
like one of my favorite movies of last year was, the year before last now is Wonka. I think
Yes, there's a
that was
musical. Yeah, yeah. When the
perfection.
musicals are done right. I mean, I was a big fan of The Greatest Showman. Did you ever see that one?
Yes.
I love that one. And people go, when they say, "What's it about?" You're like, "Yeah, it's a musical." It often turns people away, and you're like, I mean, I wouldn't watch movies because they're a musical, but I got no problem. If it is a musical, I'm like, well, again, it still has to be good. Like anything. I was like, I don't. Just the fact that it's a musical won't make me watch it. It won't make me not watch it though. As well, I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah, because I think one of the biggest trends right now, I was just talking to my buddy about it, is retro.
Yeah,
Anything retro vibes
yeah.
seems to be selling a lot now. Like,
It's people. There's that nostalgia feel. I was convinced. You see, that's why, they're making the Ghostbusters movies. There's a lot of nostalgia there. You see, for people, doesn't mean that the new movies are any good. It just means that there's a big audience that want to see them. I heard a friend of mine was in Gremlins. He plays the main guy in Gremlins. Apparently, they're making a third Gremlins movie. Like again, nostalgia. It doesn't matter what a movie's going to look like. As long as they make it appropriately, it's going to be a big hit because there's a bunch of people that will want to see what that next one is. It's been so long since the other two.
yeah, but does that need to happen though?
Does it need to happen? Absolutely not. No.
Can we?
No.
I think there's somebody in like the library of archives of movies saying, "All right, what movie can we screw up?" Like,
Because that's somebody's job in Hollywood to go, what is sacred to people that we can take and do again?
just well,
I heard that they were. I don't even know if this happened. Actually, I heard a couple of years ago they were remaking Gone with the Wind.
I just saw the article the other day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard that was happening, and I was like, I mean, they should definitely leave that alone. It wouldn't. Number one, it wouldn't update. Anyway, so you're talking about remaking it as a period movie, sort of. Anyway, but I mean, I just, yeah,
You really can't do that because we're in two different eras. It feels like.
Yeah. So hopefully, no one's doing that.
Well,
but I
guess
somebody
I
probably.
guess I got to do an episode on that so we can shut that down.
Do that. Yeah. Now, if they're making a horror version of Gone with the Wind, now you're talking. So I think it's just a straight remake. Anyway.
Why?
Why?
Stop. I'm gonna have to do an episode on the remix, so we should stop. Like, just oh my god.
More people need to know. Leave it alone. Either go and watch the original movie. You just don't need to remake it. Just go watch the original.
And I think one of the issues we have is people remaking these movies, and we don't have a chance to. We don't have a platform to go back and watch the originals either.
Yes, that's the. Or when I talk to somebody about something like Nightmare on Elm Street, and they go, "Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I didn't really like it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And what they're talking about is the remake. And I go, "Have you seen the original?" And they're like, "No." And you're like, "Oh, okay, okay." I wouldn't judge it on the new one. That would be the wrong way to watch that.
I have never walked up to the boss of a theater and asked for a refund quicker than I did in that movie. I was so upset.
Yes, I think they know that they made a mistake.
I don't think they do because it's still shown on my television sometimes.
Oh, it's still, yeah. Every now and then they bring it back, yeah. But I don't think they bring it back as much as they bring the original ones back.
Oh, but the original should be.
Well, I'm aware.
Like, you already know what I was about to say.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So, what do you have upcoming for us to look forward to?
Well, as we mentioned briefly earlier, we have the Omro heist coming up. We have The Influencer 2 and 3 coming out this year. So, yes, we've got a lot is the answer. We're looking forward to it. And also, I believe my TV show, Age of the Living Dead, which you should check out, which is on Tubi. That's definitely on Tubi, because I know that's on Tubi, is coming out as well with Season 2. So we're wrapped up on Season 2, so we're looking forward to that as well. So busy coming up.
Well, I already got my TV show planned because I'm due to have back surgery Friday, so I'm gonna
Oh,
go
well,
to
there you go. Check out season 1 of Age of Living Dead first, then, and
season
then
one.
season 2 is coming up.
So I already got my weekend planned.
Well, there you go. Surge recovery TV is the best time. You'll be at least you won't be able to move. See, so you won't be distracted.
So yeah, and I have the house to myself during the day anyway because my wife is going to be a nurse soon. So just gonna
She's
be
got
me,
work.
myself,
Well,
and I.
listen. That's good practice for her, right? She's going to be a nurse soon, and you're getting back surgery.
Ugh.
This sounds
I
like perfectly good homework for her.
So a little bit of backstory. I have actually had two back surgeries already.
Right.
I had issues, and I got laid off of my job and stuff like that. So I started this podcast because I wasn't able. I'm still not able to work. So
Right.
this has developed into this. So it is what it is, I guess.
Well, this is, mate. We have to all evolve, unfortunately. Everybody's got to change. Change something. Not that I hope that you have more back surgery, but you know.
I hope I never have another one. Trust me, I've already had two. I don't need another one.
Yes, obviously doctors would probably disagree. Otherwise, that's why you're going into the next one. So, but hopefully the last one.
That's true. But Simon, thank you very much. It's been an absolute honor for you to join me.
Oh, my pleasure, mate. And anytime, I should look forward to talking to you after the next lot come out, and then we can catch up again.
Oh, you already know. I'm gonna hit you up as soon as I watch all of this. Be like, hey, amazing, because
Good stuff.
I'm just gonna wait for my test after Silent Bites.
Yeah, there's a big test. Remember, on each individual film has a separate test, and they're very tough questions. They're not easy questions.
As long as it's not writing an essay, because I'm not writing.
No, it's a verbal. It's an oral test. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the spot, and it's quick fire. You don't get a chance to Google the answer. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a quick thing.
Google, another thing we don't even need there anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Simon, thank you very much, good sir.
Thank you very much, mate. Talk soon.
Everybody go see The Mousetrap still streaming. Silent Bites on Tubi, as he said.
Yes.
The Influencer, is The Influencer one on
I
streaming?
think that's on Amazon. Sorry, that one's on Amazon.
Go watch it on Amazon.
Go find
All
it.
I'm going to say.
It's yeah.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, good sir.